Okay, a very, very good morning, and it's such a pleasure, honor to be back on LinkedIn Live again. I think this time we have a very, very interesting topic for each one of us because if you look at it, no, cyber fraud, insurance frauds which happen, and the way frauds get committed, I think most of us think that we are fraud proof, but you're surprised to know that how many of us actually fall for these frauds, and we fall for it. Just I think one of the classic cases was when COVID was at its peak in the second wave, and we had all this message coming from COVID information and figure this out. We never realized that quite a few of them are phishing messages, and we clicked on that, and actually our database got hacked, and I think about a crore of Indians got or like they got their money due in that. If I look at the Nigerian scam of WhatsApp, where they hacked WhatsApp, on the recent one where Facebook's getting hacked and people are asking money. I think every second I see my friends posting something that they say that my account has got hacked and please don't pay any money to anybody. Now these are not people that who you think are not intelligent or they're not aware, but still frauds keep on happening. In fact, insurance industry, you'll be surprised to know, is the target of the biggest frauds in any industry across the world. And let me make my point here also. When I talk of insurance frauds, it's not only about dishonest fraudsters, it's also about honest people committing fraud with insurance companies. I think that is where it is. So I'll give you just one example how honest people commit frauds without thinking they've committed fraud. I have a car and I go to a dealer, to give my car for servicing. The dealer tells me, "Look here, Tapan, I can know your car has these scratches here. Don't worry, just sign this form, and I'll ensure that your car is going to be painted and made new and given to you." So I think, wow, that's perfectly fine. He's a nice dealer. He's going to make my car completely look new. So I sign a few blank forms and give it to the dealer. And then I walk away, and the dealer says, "Come out in 15 days, sir. Complete painted, fresh car. No, we deliver to you." And I'm so happy. Wow, the dealer is doing a good job for me. Then what the dealer does is he takes the car, bangs it in a few places. In fact, may call for a crane also. Gets it badly damaged, clicks photographs, informs insurance companies that a claim has happened, fills in the empty claim form that we had signed to show that a serious accident happened. And then after that, the dealer repairs the car, paints it completely. The insurance company pays a couple of lakhs of rupees or minimum 70,000-80,000 rupees for something which is not even a claim. And then I go to the dealership, I get my car completely painted. I'm so happy. I'm very happy the dealer has done a good job. Without realizing that I became a part of a fraud. This was not a claim at all. Secondly, forget about my car getting painted looking new. My car was actually damaged. The tensile strength of my panels or of my chassis has actually got damaged, though it looks like to me brand new. In reality, my car is much weaker than what I gave. In reality, I actually got a very bad deal when I signed that empty form. No? Do we realize how we succumb to frauds in our everyday life? And do we realize that as honest people also, we end up committing frauds without even knowing they're committing frauds, and in fact getting a very raw deal and a bad deal in terms of what we actually have a car which we actually gave with just minor scratches, which was maintenance to get converted into claim, and then it was banged at all places. It became weaker than what it was, though it looks painted, but my car is much weaker than when I gave the dealer. No, so if I can go on and on, I think there are hundreds of stories about the scams that happen, the frauds which happen. But today with me in my discussion, I have very interesting people, real good experts from, and you'll be amazed to hear about their accomplishment. Let me start with Vikram, Kunwar Vikram Singh. Kunwar was also, currently whatever he's doing, he was advisor, internal secretary to Prime Minister of India in 1991. He's currently the chairman, Central Association of Private Sector Industries. He was awarded the Investigator of the Year 2006. He's also been got Bharat Suraksha Ratan Award by the Global Security Council as President of India. So imagine his exposure. He's written a book. He's been all across the world, part of UN Council. I think I talk about him. It'll take me a complete 1 hour to describe what all he has done. So I could not get a better person than Vikram here on the show, for all of us here. Then I have Mukul Shrivastava. He's part of E&Y, again, Vice President, ACFE Mumbai Chapter. He's partner of Forensic Integrity Services. Again, we know how powerful E&Y consulting is, and somebody out there who's doing this forensic investigation, and as part of that, you understand the kind of depth and knowledge he has. Then I have Sanjiv Dwivedi, and a veteran in the insurance industry, and he's so this is Mukul here for us. And then we have Sanjiv Dwivedi, who's a veteran in the insurance industry. I think he has been leading the fraud vertical. In fact, I remember a conversation I had with Sanjeev earlier. He said, "Why do you call it a fraud vertical? We don't commit frauds. You should call it ILM." So we actually named it for Sanjeev because I think that's a very strong point. I said, "Yeah, I always said he's a fraud head." He said, "What do you mean a fraud head? Do you think I commit frauds?" I said, "No, you say frauds." Then he got his department renamed as ILM, but I think in the industry, he's widely respected for the initiative which is set up in the journalism industry, and the way he leads all the forums is phenomenal. So I'm very proud to have all three of them. And with this discussion, no, I think taking forward, let me ask some stories from them in terms of where they have seen huge frauds happening, where they have seen no something which people have fallen prey to, and what could they have done differently. So let me start with Mukul first. No, with all the experience, Mukul, any examples that you have in your illustrious career where you saw something very surprised as to why and how it has happened?
Yeah, sure. So thanks, Tapan. Thanks for the kind words. And I think I just want to start off on a lighter note, right? You mentioned about the fraud vertical, right? I remember we were setting up the ACFE sort of a conference, and this was in Meridian Hotel in Delhi, the first, and it was called the first fraud conference. Believe me, hundreds of people walked in and said, "By conference, is it actually happening or not happening? You're calling it the first fraud conference. Is it a genuine conference or not, right?" So I just want to take that example a little forward, Tapan and Sanjeev. And this was way back in, I think, 2000, end of 2000. So we found it extremely funny, and we did say, okay, fine, we got to be careful of how we word these things. But I think, Sanjeev, on the cyber world, there have been very interesting cases, right? And almost every I used to take care of the forensic technology practice within ENY for quite some time, from almost 2011 till about 2017. And every cybercrime investigation we did, right? One very interesting fact came out, right? Your entire IT infrastructure or network infrastructure or whatever you can call it is as strong as the weakest computer, right? And I think what we've seen in almost every case, I can't name any one of my clients, but every case we have done, one person was compromised, right? That's how this entire cybercrime started, right? One person's machine, he got a mail, he got a link, he got an SMS, or something happened, and that's how the fraud had happened, right? And you did share some examples. One of the classic ones is man in the middle attack, and that is very, very rampant today. And of course, I would say between 12 and 15 or so, that was a very high fraud. And post that, I think we've had enough malware attacks. We've spent hours and hours doing malware reviews, malware fixing, and companies have actually paid millions and millions of dollars to fix it. So I think my only example I want to give you is just more than an example. It's interesting pieces. Don't click on unknown links. And remember, nothing comes for free, right? I think most of the people, they want to download a free movie or download a free software or, do something which is easier, right? Get out of the comfort zone. And if you want to protect yourself against fraud, get out of that comfort zone. That's all I would want to say here, Tapan.
Mukul, I'll give you something. No, I think I would be one of the most targeted, I think employee in my organization. So every day I'll have 3 or 4 links. No, right from the global CEO of Allianz, saying that we are going to do a deal to somebody asking that this has to be done, and I'm so cautious that my computer in which I read my mails has nothing else in it.
Yeah.
And secondly, anything which looks like a global deal, and even the emails also now they got it so right. It looks like a genuine email. So I just touch the email to see that the sublink comes through, and it's a fraud, or the spelling, there'll be a A or E, which has just changed, It's such a minus change that you would be so surprised. So I think every day at least I 6-7 mails forward to my CISO or to my head. In fact, that is something like you rightly said. Anything which looks so innocent and looks so tempting and looks free, if you're clicking on it, and if it's an organization computer, you are going to compromise your entire organization. So I think it's a very powerful message you send, Mukul, as an employee on your official system. If you click, it's not only about you, what can go wrong. You are going to ensure that your entire organization gets compromised. So it's a huge duty on each employee that at least on the system which you are using for official purposes, should be very, very cautious. Anything suspicious, just forward it to your head for IT or your CISO. Just forward it. Let them have a check and they'll get back to you if you have to see it or not. So don't even, in doubt, just forward. That's what I do. So every day I forward quite a few mails to my head IT and CISO, and they have a look at it and then tell me that safe, not safe, and they take action. And then we saw attacks coming from Middle East, from China, from Africa. So it's not about Indian and such intelligent ways they keep on finding every time that I'm become so cautious. I'm going to be hyper cautious that mails that I'm very, very careful of clicking. Then keep my system very clean. I know that if I click on a wrong thing, my entire organization gets compromised. No, it's a
That is
very
correct.
powerful
That is
business
correct.
technique.
Yeah.
Okay, from here I move to Kunwar Vikram. You have written books, you have investigated so much, you've seen the world, Kunwar. I think no, it's such an interesting personality you have. In fact, your books and everything is on, and you've written detective novels also. Let's hear some interesting stories from you. I think you will have a huge amount of stories to tell us, and what we're learning from them, and what should be that we should be very cautious about.
Tapan, it's very interesting to listen to you people. And I'm amazed the kind of world we have created around us. We created so much of booby traps for us. We have put so many land mines around us, which we never thought. I mean, say, in the age of digitization, where are we going to? I mean, says we have, made our life, our business so vulnerable, so difficult to live. And you put a foot on one booby trap, you'll be hanged ups and down and you may die. Your business will be killed. And all the day, Tapan, you are not supposed to be so hyper about certain things. You must concentrate on your business. You are a professional, how to grow business, how to do many things, but all the time, if you think you're sitting insecure in front of your computer, and God knows, and if you click it, what will happen? Zoom. I mean, say you're gone. This was basically used to happen at the borders of Indo-Pakistan or China, where you defend yourself and you have created defense strategy around you. No, all of you are now soldiers. You are at war all the time. I went to war a couple of times, but the way life is changing, in the process of getting things easier for yourself, you're going digital. The government is happening because they want certain thing to done in a compliance, get money transferred, and all sort of informations and all that. This has made the world very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. I mean, say I'm basically foot soldier with my qualifications as a intelligence person. Or fraud was a different perception for us. There were very few fraudsters in the world. I mean, says you name a couple of those, you read their stories. People made films. Now, when I go to attend Interpol meetings, then what is happening around and what people are talking about, what software they're talking about, what is the dark web, and go down. And you really don't know. I schedule to sit in front of the computer. I normally don't open my mails now. I said, no, I will not do that. being a normal, investigator and learning at this stage, it is a now for us as a detectives, what is left? I mean, say I used to follow, suspecting husbands or wives or girlfriend where they're doing. It was a physical surveillance. No, you don't need a physical surveillance. You put a tracker somewhere. You come to know sitting in your watch that your wife is going left and right, your girlfriend so and so and all that. In a situation like this, I mean, earlier there was a one key and one lock and one key, and only you could open. In case you lose a key, you go to the key maker, the Sardaji sitting in the corner. He'll come and do it. Now, how many keys you need? And where will you keep the keys of your computer passwords? Where you can happen? I mean, it's not the situation is very bad. And digital frauds. There's a former president of America saying he's been deep. He was frauded. Another president became the president because he did something with the computers with the help of another nation. क्या होगा भाई हमारी जिंदगी में? Or if I start telling story about the frauds and all that, it was a different fraud for us. I have done so many insurance frauds when fraud was committed physically by people using some kind of, tricks with the insurance companies, and you create a false, death of your relatives or mother or father. You take money or you make false claims and all that. Is very, very easy for us to go and understand, carry out a psychoanalysis. But I cannot tell you many stories, but life has changed. life has to some extent, I don't know where I find myself at this stage. Whether how I can help people, how can I teach people, how can I train my own teams? I mean, say we are now risk consulting. We are no more private detectives. Now we started upgrading ourselves and tell, Sanjeev or Mukul, now you do like this because we understand human beings. We carry out psychoanalysis. I know who are we dealing with. We understand if you imply this man, he's going to cheat you. I go to the extent, Tapan, that now when you give your policies to people or your officers, the psychometrics system is going to play a different role. I mean, who are you dealing with? I think I may not give you many stories because my stories will make the fraudster more intelligent. They always keep on, when I go on a television, people listen कि ये क्या कहने वाला जी, इसकी बात सुनो जी, ये कुछ बात बताएगा हमें. अब भाई हम तो सीक्रेट रहा ही नहीं है. I don't go on television show and don't even tell conferences how to save you from frauds. Women say this is the way you can save yourself from the fraud. You are educating a fraudster. वो अपना और सिस्टम बना लेगा. He will find somebody, okay, how I will check it. Every day I'm telling you have to be, and at this age, if I'm allowed to walk, if you are made to walk on a sword, imagine life कैसी होगी आप लोगों की, insecurity की, और losing so much of money and so much sleepless nights, and all the time if Tapan you keep on doing this. I mean, say amazing. I pity you. कि आप अपना कंप्यूटर खोल के कहोगे I'll forward to your IT department. I don't know who's at the IT department. I don't know what kind of system you have created to find out the background of that IT people. Every IT people now think that he can make much more money because he understands those codes and values. So you have to rethink your security policies, even about your hiring of IT professionals. Let me warn you on this, because people earlier there was a criminal tribes. उनका पता होता है सब चोर लोग हैं जी, इसका ये करेंगे, इनका मॉडल स्प्रेड होगा. अब IT professionals start thinking of making huge money by clicking here, your $1 million goes aside. No, this is as an insurance company, as an insurance setup, your mindset, your security policies, your hiring things, your training has to go in a paradigm shift. And this is one where I will not like to tell you on the television what you should be doing.
Thank you, Vikram. I think I'll tell some stories again from insurance, on things that you have said. So it's already open secret. So like you mentioned about data, being stolen by the team. So in Gurgaon, they stole customer data, forged documents, death certificate, bank accounts, false claims, and they lost 150 false claims, And the target was to lose 10,000 false claims and make hundreds of crores of rupees, And they got caught obviously on 150 of it, So I think it is very interesting that KYC document getting stolen, SIM getting stolen, and then people forging and doing that. So I think the point which we have to understand is that we should not be. I'm not saying that we should be scared or we should be in a panic attack. This is happening across us. We should be aware. I think awareness is the biggest thing, and it's part of life. I think earlier on, Kunwar Saab, when I started my job, my biggest worry was first of the month when I had to withdraw cash from bank and take it in my pocket to go to home, and you could not go to bank to withdraw cash every day. And pickpocketing was big. In my entire life, I got pickpocketed thrice, with all my precautions, and I lost money. But then obviously I learned कि सामने pocket में रखना है, पीछे नहीं रखना है. First time I lost. Second time I was carrying my child and the family pockets, they got somebody pickpocketed. So I said, okay, when you're carrying cash, don't carry child in arm, then they can pickpocket. So I think the awareness helps you do that. Now that is gone. So risks in life will keep on changing. One should be aware. One should be prepared. Once you're aware about it, you make preparation. Like if you look at the company, we have a CISO, we have backup data, we have done a lot of things. We have the best experts who are hiring it, and we also do a company analysis of what kind of people we're hiring. The point you said. So I think all that comes from awareness. If you're not aware, we don't have a conversation. we try to do so. Then we are also not making aware people who do not know what to do. No, they don't understand that a simple click can compromise the whole organization, like what Mukul said. So I think creating awareness, Kunwar Vikram, is also very, very important. No, with all experiences, and the fraudsters will keep on trying something different. You have to try something different. Sometimes they'll defraud you. Sometimes you will catch them. No, so this has gone on from centuries together. Before cyber era, in the cyber era, it's going to get more interesting. Like you said, there were tribes of thieves. Now in the dark web, you have a different tribe of thieves, which are doing the same job. So I think
Exactly.
the profile changes towards up, but I think things keep on moving as we see in this world. Now from here, I move on to Sanjiv. Sanjiv, you have been handling insurance frauds all your life, I would say, and you're I think in the industry one of the biggest experts on this subject. So let's hear from you on your views on how things are and what would you recommend.
So I would like to, in fact, highlight before recommending some precautionary measures, but I would like to highlight a kind of fraud which we have been facing in the industry. So there were a lot of cases we used to receive from northern part of India, and these were all personal accident claims, where we came to know that later on, while doing investigation, we came to know there was a data which got leaked from hospitals, and this was for those patients who were poor by financial conditions, but they were suffering at the first stage of cancer. And later on, these people, the fraudster, they went and met with the family people. They tried convincing them that we will help you to get an insurance policy. And obviously there were high chances of casualty after few might be after few months or after few years. And they used to come for a claim of a road accident case. So while investigating this, we came to know that this nexus was working, and obviously we took a lot of help from police, and we got those nexus busted, and people got arrested. Finally, overall, when we calculated the loss which the industry was facing with this would raise to around 200 crores of rupees, which now obviously has stopped. So there was a data leakage which happened at the hospital level. So we never know where or from which area your data might get leaked, or where you may get cyber attack, and then your company would be landing in a soup and paying up all those claims. Coming to up at personal level, suppose because right now what is happening, we are downloading lot of applications which are necessary, which are not necessary. We are giving lot of permissions while downloading those applications, and uh, we don't know what all informations these people are taking away from our system. Most might be our bank account, our contact details, and almost everything. So I suggest, in fact, we should be quarterly reviewing all our applications which we have downloaded in the mobile, and we should check whether these applications are required also or not, whether the permissions which we have given are can we run the application with the bare minimum requirement rather than giving all kind of permissions. Like I recall in one of my friend used to play a lot of online games which has taken the permission of reading your SMS, reading your contact list and everything, which finally got leaked out. And obviously he was suffering from cyber attack. Lot of money also got swiped off from his account. So people should keep on reviewing this. They should have two-factor authentication in any kind of transaction which they are doing. So like they can keep some pattern, or they can keep some fingerprints, so that it becomes difficult for the fraudster to take away the money. And one latest thing which I have in fact come to know is banks have come up with a virtual cards. So if you see, whenever we make payments, online payment, we have to update our credit card details. So we never know whether those details are being captured by someone else, or some data leakage may happen at those company level, and you may land in some trouble. So the banks have come up with a virtual payment card which has a short validity period. It has a validity period of only 23 hours or something like this, and it is customized value card also. So suppose I have a car, I have a SDFC bank account, and they have given me a facility of virtual card. I update the amount of suppose 500 rupees or 1000 rupees, which will be valid only for one transaction or maximum for 23 hours. After that, it is not usable also. So even though someone captures your card details, it's of no use. Maximum he can take off the money which you have uploaded over there, or if it crosses 23 hours, then it is almost gone. Matlab, no one can use that virtual card detail. So this will be eliminating your entire, rather than prevention, I'm saying this is altogether, it will eliminate the kind of risk which we are taking care of while making online payments. There are much more, sir. In fact, I have been in this field since long, so I can keep on talking. So I would request you to take it ahead.
Thank
And
you.
as
I think listening to you
Tapan,
now and listening to Mr. Yeah, Mukul, I'm just coming to you. So listening to
yeah.
Mr. Kunwar Vikram, we should do your psychometric test now. Now I'm suspicious. I've been doing it for quite some time, so I should check you now. But jokes apart, I think I'll come to Mukul on a question which is very relevant. I also feel that as consumers, our activism is low. I'll tell you why. The point you mentioned that no, all our data of SMS was going. I was surprised to see even for payment apps that I had, they are reading my SMSs. No, so now typically, like you rightly said, if I make a payment, I immediately go to my approvals and I deactivate everything till I going to make the next payment. No, each app. So as consumers, are we active enough? Are we saying that we'll not give this data? And you actually cannot download this apps. You don't give the data. Then let's not download this apps. No, if they don't read my data and then the data gets misused and I get hacked, who is responsible for this? So Mukul, coming to you, we know how in this today's world data has become the new oil, and everybody is, and oil is the wrong word now, but whatever you may say, but
Yeah.
so if everybody is going for it, and even the best of apps are asking for so many information from us, and we're just clicking I agree, and that is putting us trouble. Is it not time that whereas consumers we just say no to it and say perfectly fine, we'll take some trouble, but we'll only download apps which don't ask for my data to this level? So has the time come now for this, Mukul, and your experiences, and you're saying something?
I think, yeah, I think, see, Tapan, it's a very relevant question. I think the time was always there. It is just that it was our comfort, right? As individuals, right? We could be anyone, as customers, as businessmen. Someone asked a question about a small business. We want that comfort, right? We discussed. So it's much easier if I just have to click once and everything else done, right? So I think that time has definitely come, right? And I do want to pick up a point from what Sanjiv mentioned around all these apps have a lot of access to our data, right? Be it so our social media account, be it our SMSs or anything, right? So Sanjeev did mention quarterly. I would say go monthly on your social media accounts, on your email accounts, right? And all these are public, free email accounts. I can't name any one of them because there's a potential there could be a conflict. But just go to that. All these emails have a privacy check. Do the privacy check, disable access, remove all possible access, right? You don't need to give the access. It will cause you inconvenience because next time when you have to log into a particular website, because they are linked to your social media account or linked to your email account, you'll have to again go enable everything. It'll take you probably 60 seconds extra. But that pain is worth more than anything else because, Tapan, to your point, you have to save and protect your privacy. Most of the people don't do that, right? There's no data around this, but almost 90% plus or 95% plus people would just want to click and say yeah, right? I do that. You give a very apt example. Making online payment, the OTP comes in and it just gets fed into the app automatically and you're done, right? That is so dangerous because if your phone is hacked or if that particular application website is hacked or if that company is hacked, all your data will be compromised, right? And so I think that is extremely, extremely important. And another very important point, Tapan, which most of the people miss out in today's world, and it is again directly linked to comfort, is using free Wi-Fi, right? I think using free Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, using free charging points, that's another big place where you actually end up compromising your, say, a mobile phone or a laptop. Or, and then you're just sending and doing undertaking a banking transaction, sending an email, sending a very personal message, sending a message with your personal details. It's avoidable. If it's an emergency, you have to do it. Otherwise, just refrain from that temptation of to say, oh, I'm sitting at the airport, I have half an hour, I will use this free Wi-Fi, or at the railway station or in a coffee shop. Most of the coffee shops offer a free Wi-Fi. So avoid doing that because that will really help you to protect your personal data, right? And I say this a lot of times, and you're probably going to beat me on this, Tapan. I said even when you have to share documents with your, say, insurance company or your bank, everyone wants 50,000 pieces of information and photocopies of your Aadhaar, of your driving license, of your rent agreement, property purchase, and all that. See what bare minimum you can do with. Yes, you have to give a proof of address. Yes, you have to give, but bare minimum, right? And as a good practice, you write across the document why you're giving, you're giving it for an insurance or a bank or whatever, right? And give only that much. Don't give. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, साधु नहीं बनने का. You don't have to give 100 pieces of information. If you can do with 5, that's my thing to protect yourself.
No, Mukul, I think what you said is relevant, and I actually represent the consumer very strongly, because I am completely anti asking for irrelevant documents. I don't believe that building up data for the sake of building up data and exploiting it is the way business should run. So a lot of people would not agree to my viewpoint here, because a lot of business are run on this point of, but then human dignity to me and is something much more paramount than building businesses on data which the human is not aware about what is giving. To me, it itself is a fraud. If I may say so, it may be a soft fraud. But why do we do this? And established companies do this, and I don't think it's the right way to do so. So I, personally, for myself, would be strongly against, and that's why I raise this point that as consumers, high time has come that somebody asks us for data, we should do that. It was surprised when he said that. I was actually smiling to myself. In my phone, I've disabled cookies, So when I go for free Wi-Fi, it doesn't get activated,
Yeah.
So I am actually happy to, and today mobile data in our country is very, very reasonable. I'm happy to use my mobile data, than to take free Wi-Fi, irrespective of what the temptation would be. And I've seen that the moment you disable your cookies, free Wi-Fi doesn't work. So that itself shows that the moment you take free Wi-Fi, they depend a lot, on the access of information that they want to get from your phone or from your system. If that is what they're depending on. In fact, the point you mentioned, I think somebody told me also, when you use free Wi-Fi, somebody can actually check all the chat that you're sending, all the messages sending. They can already in between have full access to it. In fact, Kunwar Vikram mentioned also that from his retail perspective, all you do is put a tracker and able to get all information on. Free Wi-Fi, free information, just giving information, sake of information giving, not mentioning what is the purpose of it, all of it, you may give it to safe hands. You may give it to the best of banks, you may give it to the best of applications. But tomorrow, like Mukul said, if that gets hacked, you are in serious trouble. Is it worth it? Is that 30-second convenience worth it? Or is it worth just to make a payment and then again de-link, like Sanjiv said, look for credit card, which is there. So small precautions can make a huge difference. And I think time has come for consumer activism, where for us, data cannot be used to make money by companies. Data can only be used when we have given consented to it and put it on. I think time has come for us to not download applications which ask us for data, which we don't want to give, and they just ask us to click and agree. We should get in details, disable it on our phones, on our systems, any data information, and then see how the systems collapses. It doesn't work. Why should it not work? Why if I disable cookies, a free Wi-Fi should not work? Why if I disable no access to my SMSs, a payment gateway should not work? Why? Why should I'm making a payment? Payment should work. Why? What do I do with my SMSs? Why should I give access to that? A time has come, and one message which can go strongly for all of us is, along with the precautions we take as consumers, let's say no to this. Let's put our foot down, because that data, when it gets compromised, I lose my money, I lose my peace. I don't want to do that. So from a consumer perspective, it's perfectly fine. So very powerful point, Mukul. Very happy that you raised this point.
I just have one more example which I do want to give, and this is my personal example. Just a quick one, I'll not take too long. Is that these days we have a lot of smart devices, and these smart devices are listening to everything you're doing. And we have suffered this, and after which we're actually switched off. We have keep on saying, "Hey, smart device, do this," or "What time is it?" or "Give me a recipe," or whatever it is, right? And trust me, every time we've been asking it for new recipes, in the lockdown, my daughters love to go ahead and just cook, and they were asking for recipes and time and timers, right? And guess what happens immediately? Within half an hour, I'm getting pop-ups of that on my social media by saying, "Hey, you can buy this recipe here, or you could pick up these ingredients there." It is that dangerous. Even that is a compromise of your privacy. So just use devices where you can either block all these things or just keep your devices off. I know it's not the most convenient thing, but I've suffered it. I've actually switched off the devices. I'm just wanted to share that example. We're discussing privacy. That's why.
No, Mukul, I think as you rightly said, for me also, when I speak, then I put it on the silent or switch off the power. Only I use it when I have to use it. Keeping on throughout the day 24/7 is not a very, very good thing to do. Yes,
Absolutely.
go. If you want to say something, no, over to you. Your views on
Thank
the
you very
conversation.
much. Very interesting listening to professionals. See, the awareness is very important. What Tapan said, we may make people aware, and people are very computer savvy. They understand things very well. Now, if you see in totality, we are living in a dangerous world, and there is a great sense of insecurity to the nations. When there's a great sense of insecurity to the nation, the government, they bring all those policies how to protect the country and their people. No, ever since the age of terrorism, other things started, the need for free Wi-Fi has become so important. I mean, say it's not basically by the government to steal your information, but to keep a tab on your activity. Who are you? I mean, it is a world over, and a whole every country is working on that because one bad guy. Now we have millions and millions of those people moving around, and they can do great damage to your nation, to your own safety and all that. That's why a government says the Wi-Fi will be free in Delhi. Why should a state say, okay, you take Wi-Fi free from us or airport or wherever? It's the government listening. They are tracking you, watching you because they want to protect you, make your life more easy. Now, the whole concept is this, that wherever you go, you are watched. And they try to identify who are you and where are you from and what is your activities and how you're behaving. In the whole process, because I got involved into this exercise, when we wanted to pick up people, ये लोग कौन है भाई, कौन ऐसा करते हैं, क्या नहीं करते हैं, and the area went so wide for us. Then innovation started. When the innovation started, then we say fraudsters, the new brand fraudsters, the criminals, they started picking your information between you and the government agency, which has started this thing with a good intention to protect you. Now, in this situation, say if you make people aware, your Wi-Fi devices, what you say is listening, your phone is being listened every second. Earlier, we used to remove the battery from our mobile phone. They say, no, it will not listen. Now they have created all those iPhone and things with the battery inside. You can't take it out. You can't switch off your phone. It is listening all the time. Now, in a situation like this, when every information being listened, whether you know or not, when you're sleeping, you're being clicked. And in one of the conference, the Chief Minister and the Home Minister was sitting, Chief Minister of Haryana and Home Minister of India. I said, you are being watched all the time because when you go to a hotel, there is the fire alarm system. They keep on flicking a little bit. You said it's okay, but that is connected to somewhere else. In your own hotel room, you are not safe. You listen, you do everything. No, in an age like this, to protect yourself is very, very difficult. Even you have your own SOPs, you have the protocols, how to protect yourself, what information you can protect. Now it is becoming difficult. It's very difficult, and we have it. And the WAD, we just simply finished our world convention of the WAD. I mean, WAD was formed in 1925, when it was elite people world over. And there was a presentation by a female called Sandra. I would say, when she gave a presentation, which I can share with you guys, after this listening and watching, we all so-called the best sleuths in the world, we are simply speechless. Oh my God, this is happening. And she gave a shock waves to us. Whatever you may do, I mean, says if you start thinking future, then people start thinking beyond. Recently my whole identity was stolen during the COVID. Somebody, he created some kind of face like me, and my cap I wear all the time, and my glasses, my name, same name. and he committed a crime. He committed a crime, and there was a news item that Kunwar Vikram Singh and so is involved in this. Imagine this happening to me, especially because then we got into action and managed to track that person who created my false Facebook account with my face and my hundreds of foreigner friends. They became friends with that Facebook page. And it created so much emergency of a person like me, but we managed, since we knew how to do it. Ultimately, the man was arrested and put behind the bars. This can happen with us. So whatever you create an awareness, आज के अखबार में था कि दिल्ली में या इंडिया में 49% लोगों को हाइपरटेंशन हो गया. अब उनको और अवेयरनेस बनाओगे, कितनों को हाइपरटेंशन हो जाएगा, क्या क्या हो जाएगा, इसको ख्याल में रख के जो आपकी बात है कि आप जो क्लिक करते हो कितना सही है, कितना नहीं सही, क्या कितना अलाउ करते हो, आपको वो चांस ही नहीं देते करने का. आप आगे नहीं बढ़ पाओगे. कैसे आगे करोगे जी? तो जितना कुकीज को कर लोगे, अब आगे की जो फ्रॉड की जो सेंटर ने चीजें हमें बताई हैं, उसके लिए तो पता नहीं जी आपको हम क्या करेंगे क्या नहीं करेंगे. बट एज ए इंश्योरेंस बिजनेस where you are prone to these kind of fraudsters, and I'm very happy that you started thinking Sanjeev is so worried about it, and you are trying to do something. And we as a private investigator, we are also now upgrading ourselves. I mean, how we can think ahead of a fraudster. As an investigator, as an intelligence person, हम तो भी उस आदमी के दिमाग के आगे की सोच के तभी उसको इंटरसेप्ट करते थे, पकड़ लेते थे, उससे ज्यादा होशियार होके. अब ऐसी साइबर वर्ल्ड में जिस ढंग से अब हमारी कंपनी में हम इसको उस ढंग से चल रहे हैं, I think has become so difficult for me at this age, so that's why Shivendra is looking after. No, so to do these kind of things, it will require not only awareness, your system smartness, and your futuristic thinking. If you stick ahead of where we are started working, this is what human man can think, and where are you things which are you making it easy for you to run your business, but you are keeping one window open somewhere because you lock your door रात को सोने के टाइम में, लेकिन you want a fresh air, आप ऊपर के कमरे की खिड़की खोल देते हो, ये फ्रेश एयर आ गई. अब वो फ्रेश एयर के साथ क्या क्या आ जाएगा, कितने मच्छर आ जाएंगे, कितने फ्रॉडस्टर आ जाएंगे आपके सिस्टम में. The security mindedness, I mean, people are not security minded. वो कहते ठीक है जी कोई बात नहीं, इधर से चले जाते. तो ये माहौल तो तपन जी will have to have a different approach to whole thing, which can be the government is worried. Let me tell you, government is so much worried, but they are smart now in Indian government. We are working in such a manner that we try to create as a secure environment for people. But to protect your business, definitely what you were saying and what Mukul is saying, that this is a time when we have to think about these devices, our ability to get access, and how to do it, and what kind of information you need from people, and why do you need more information. You keep on creating virtual card, and somebody will catch your virtual card in the way. तो माहौल तो फिर ऐसा ही रहेगा. लेकिन ये लड़ाई है, और जैसे मैंने कहा कि ये बूबी ट्रैप्स हैं और आपके फील्ड माइंस हैं, दे विल ब्लो यू अप. तो उसमें कितना हम अपने आप को प्रोटेक्ट कर लेंगे, ये आपकी एबिलिटी के ऊपर, आपकी फ्यूचरिस्टिक एप्रिसिएशन के ऊपर है कि आपके डिपार्टमेंट को कितना स्ट्रॉन्ग आप बना सकते हैं. योर फोर्ड,
इसीलिए कुंवर विक्रम साहब जो आपने पॉइंट कहा ना, हम भी यही सोचे कि चाहे कुछ भी करें, ये चोर पुलिस खेल चलता रहेगा. सो वी केम आउट विद द फर्स्ट साइबर इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी इन इंडिया, रिटेल साइबर इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी ना. सबसे पहले हम लोग लेके आए कि एग्जैक्टली द पॉइंट यू सेड कि even we do everything, still things will and can go wrong. And then we thought as an insurance company, our job is not only to create awareness, but to also ensure we provide protection against risk. आपकी identity theft हुई, अगर आपके पास हमारी पॉलिसी होती, you are actually covered. No. So the point that you're saying, even a person like you who is like so renowned and know you have been the advisor for security, even your identity theft is happening and you are getting defrauded. If you had a cyber policy, you would have been covered by that. Not only that, stalking would have been covered, phishing, malware, all that we're discussing would be covered. And we came out with the first policy in India, way back. In fact, even stalking is covered. So the first two policies were purchased by my daughters actually, Because I think the point was what we also realize is in this world where crimes keeps on happening, not from today, it's perpetually also. What are best precautions you take? The best lock, the best security guard. Still, even in a physical world, crimes happen, no? And that is precisely why when I saw the comment of Minac, what should small business do to protect themselves? I think first and foremost, Minac, they should always have a very good insurance cover, no? Because whatever you may do, still the chances of things may go wrong. That is the first point which I'd say. But from having said that, I still come to Mukul and then I'll come to Sanjeev. And Mukul, this question still remains answered. That from your perspective, from a consultant perspective, what would you recommend for small business to do other than having a very good insurance? But that I think is very paramount. After listening to Kunwar Vikram, things came out very clear that if you're not, whatever you may do, things may still go wrong. And that's precisely why a good insurance cover would be there.
I just
That's
take 1 minute.
price.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah,
1
please.
minute to you.
Yeah.
Just reminded me what you said, the cyber policy. Only say about 4-5 months back, I approached the insurance company. I said we need insurance for all the detective agencies
Yes.
and for the security agencies. No, we are 23,000 private security agencies in India, and we are prone to all kind of losses and this thing. No, we're working on that. I mean, as an investigator, we realize that we need to be insured ourselves, which is being done in other countries, not in India. But it's a great business for you, Tapan, also in India.
No, Kumar sir, please send us. I think we're very happy to cover you. I think as an insurer, I'm always excited to ensure that I can provide protection even after the best protection provided, which cannot take care, and then we come into and we play into that, no? And
Right.
I think it's a very good discussion that we had. So from here, I come back to Mukul again. Now, Mukul, as a
Yeah.
consultant, what would you recommend for small businesses other than having a very good insurance cover for themselves?
Sure. Thanks, Tapan. So I think, very important for small companies is number one, they need to have a cyber or a privacy review, right? They need to know if they're exposed somewhere, right? For example, is there a malware in the system? Are there any gaps, right? And typically you do something called a fraud risk assessment. We do this quite often, not only for insurance companies, for anyone who's almost every company, Tapan, in these days is, especially after the pandemic, everyone is IT enabled, right? Everything, customer onboarding to claims to anything happening is online right now. So everyone is IT enabled, right? Everything is IT intensive. So you really need to know that your IT infrastructure is well secure, right? So there are multiple levels, but the first and foremost is do a cyber and a privacy review. Number one, are you vulnerable to? Cyber review will help you to know, are you vulnerable to attack? Are you vulnerable? What are the vulnerable areas? Post which you can take informed decisions. Do you need to invest more into a firewall or do XYZ to protect yourself, right? Second is privacy, because you are actually custodians, privacy for yourself, and you're custodians of millions of other people if you're dealing with the data. It could be vendors, could be third parties, could be your own employees. So you need to know, as the saying goes in Hindi, "Aap kitne pani mein hai," right? And then you take an informed decision. And I think so, cyber review, privacy review, and of course, all this could be a part of a wider fraud risk review, fraud risk assessment. Where are the gaps in your IT systems? Where are your gaps in your employee, right? A lot of times, and I'm saying this from real life examples in the last 5-7 years, companies actually want to also assess who's got access, what access, right? And today, every employee doesn't need access to the payroll data. For example, I'm giving an overly simplified example. So you would then say, okay, fine, here are the 5 people who will have access to payroll. Here are the 2 people who will have access to director remuneration, right? Similarly, every data you have within the company, you need to have an access restriction on it. Who will review it and when, or who will have access to it and when. And last, which is the most important, and this is suddenly picked up big time, is trainings, right? Please train your employees, please train your third parties, please train your top management, please train your key people handling the data. And Kunwarji mentioned some time back about, how do you do it? There's so many, people are getting hypertension, right? I don't think people need to get hypertension. And again, a very interesting saying, chor ek kadam aage hi hota hai police walon se, right? So the cyber fraudsters will always be there, right? Now, whether it's a cyber fraudster or whoever. So what we need to do is we need to just take those precautions. And training is an extremely, extremely important step in that precaution, right? And there are many, many trainings available. These are simplified, overly simplified, which common man understands. And that's really what we want to do. I can keep on going on and on, Tapan, on this.
No,
but
I think it's very valuable. I think your inputs are very valuable. And I remember the access control, as an MD, I told the team that I want no access, because I actually, what do I require other than no just my emails and no conversation? I don't have a direct intervention. Just because of position, you should not ask for more access. That was one message which I gave very strongly. No, position does not mean that you should have all accesses. That would be the most stupid thing to do. If I don't require it, I should not have it. Well, as simple as that. Doesn't matter what designation or position you have. People who are working on it should only have the access. Rest through them, you can get information that you want. Why do you want to compromise the entire organization security by giving access to my hierarchy? The hierarchy access is a thing of the past. Just don't do that. I think good you raise that point, Mukul. Where I remember this conversation with my team. I said I require no access. I don't have any direct intervention in any other department. Why do you want me to give me access? Make it zero. I should have zero access. So I think it's a proactive step that each one of us should take, and training is very important. I think my CISO puts it up and he runs that. So I told him to run a dummy malware, phishing kind of mails to see how many click. It was amazing. Like in my senior management, 70% clicked. Then again he said, "Click on this one, huh? So let's try this again." So I think it's become like a gamification to the point that you raised, and I think it's a very very important gamification done. That sometimes on our own we send some kind of message that how do we put it together to see that we are able to get this right, and very powerful point. Sanjeev, coming to you now, in your experiences, I think one thing which I've realized is that though Mukul said fraudsters will be one step ahead, but most times the fraudsters do get caught also. I think one important message again in this forum I want to say is that you may be tempted, but don't do it. But at the end of the day, like you heard the stories, even after like 50 crores, 60 crores, people do get caught. Then they go behind bars. You heard what Mr. Kunwar Vikram said, that they stole his identity, but he went after them, got them arrested. What was it really worth it? Is it something that we want to make a profession out of it? What are we really looking for? Because at the end of the day, the fraudster may one step ahead, but organizations will also be tracking, following, have their own mechanism to do so, and ensure that this game goes on. So don't get tempted. I remember my father used to tell me, he told me a very interesting thing which I never forgot all my life, and I tell this to Sanjeev and everybody else. He told me that locks are made for honest people. So I was surprised, like, how this is before cyber world, huh? So he said, I said, what do you mean by this? He said, dishonest can break any lock. So your lock will not contain fraudsters. The lock is that an honest people should not get tempted to commit fraud. I think the locks only do that purpose. So I think while we create awareness, the awareness that honest people should not also get tempted is something very, very powerful here. Like all of you said, locks can be broken, and fraudsters will find a way to break it up, and that's why insurance companies step in and provide cover for that. But I think some precautions and some awareness creation also to detest any honest person crossing the line and going into that place, because it's not a place to be. Over to Sanjeev, you have many examples where you caught fraudsters. So can you give us examples?
Yes. So I actually always tell people that better to be safe rather than being sorry. And that is one of the important area when we work towards creating deterrence. Before going to the deterrence part, I would like to just say few basic points which will be useful for individuals rather than corporates or small businesses. So we normally we don't, if we have a postpaid bill mobile, we should go back to the bills and we should check whether there is any messages which are going out of system, which are international messages, which normally we don't check. Being in corporate, now our company is paying our phone bill. We are not aware whether, so there is some amount which is automatically deducted every month and it goes to the insurance, to the telecom company. But we are not going through the bills and we don't check whether those bills are some messages which are going international. At times we also pick up the international calls, which obviously international calls at times are unknown. We may not always be sure that this is a call which is coming from, it may be some of our friends. But if we are not expecting any international call, and in that time if a call is coming, then that becomes a word of caution where we should be precautious. We should take some cautious steps. Even we should, I have come across few softwares which are actually anti-fraud malware. I don't know how much to believe on them, but yes, they are working fine as of now. But as Kunwar Vikram has been saying, that you cannot believe anyone. You want a fresh air, but along with fresh air, sometimes some mosquitoes or some bees may also come. So that is little bit risky. But I also say we should avoid subscribing our phone numbers to any sites and or our email IDs. Unless it is very important, and if required, we should again, after the work is done, as you told, we should go and unsubscribe them. Coming to the deterrence part, I would always say people normally they don't know where to go and what to do if there has been some fraud or some financial fraud which has happened with them. They normally call the bank or they speak with their friends. Sometimes people feel shy also कि मैं बेवकूफ बन गया. How to tell people that I am such a senior person and I have been cheated. So police has already started the cyber cell. People should go and register their complaint. And I have seen people after registering their complaint, they don't follow up with police. So one important area is one has to follow up and give reminders to police, because nowadays lot of cyber cases are coming. Police is also over occupied with this kind of cases, so they should keep on following and they should ensure that a proper steps is taken, a deterrent step is taken against this fraudster. This is what I felt it's
So on
important.
this police complaint, there's one fraud which was very interesting, Sanjeev. Cheating the cheated. So what happened was people got cheated. They went to lodge a fraud complaint, and that fraudster had created a fraud complaint cell, and people went there and they took money for them to do that. So even after getting cheated, they got cheated again. No. So I think the point remains that you should be very, very cautious. Like once beaten, twice shy does not work here. You can get twice beaten also. No. Now, having said that, we are coming close to the end of this session. So I request each one of you to say one or two sentences as per you. Top of mind, recall what one should be very cautious about, or something you want to talk about to our audience, and then we close the session. So we'll start with Kunwar Vikram. One or two sentences, Kunwar, and then no. Your closing remarks.
It is once again this awareness and your ability to understand now. Your thinking has to be absolutely in a different say about domain now. Okay, you are living in this world and what you should be doing. Only thing is that there are people and the greed level has gone very high. Earlier there was only thieves. Now you have millions of greedy people around you. चोर था, अब चोर नहीं है. अब आपके पास ग्रीड हो गए. उनको पता कि यहाँ से पैसा निकल सकता है, जहां से पैसा आ सकता है. तो अब जो आसपास के लोग आपके, जिनसे आपने बिजनेस करना है, जो वहां आप पर रह रहे हो, आप उसको भी समझने की कोशिश करनी पड़ी. स्मॉल बिजनेस की बात की थी. It's very, very important that you secure yourself through a good insurance policy, and if it's available, then very good. That's a loss is what. But don't tax yourself. Lead an easy life. When you go to sleep, leave your phone outside. Okay? People listen to you. So my advice is that create a small secure area in your office and other things. Don't keep so many gadgets in your room. जिसकी जरूरत नहीं है मत रखो. जैसे तपन कह रहा है कि मैं नहीं एक्सेस करने देता, तो आप अपने आप को सिक्योर खुद करोगे. तो आप खुद कैसे करोगे? इन इंस्ट्रूमेंट से दूर हो जाओ, बाकी अपना एनवायरनमेंट ऐसे बना लो, और जो आपकी पॉलिसीज हैं, आपकी सिक्योरिटी पॉलिसी है, वो रिस्क पॉलिसी हैं, वो आप जरूर बना लीजिए. दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. यू मे नॉट बी थिंक दैट आई एम वेरी गुड, बट यू मस्ट हैव a very good internal security policy. That's all.
Thank you, Kunwar Saab. Over to you, Mukul. Your closing remarks.
Yeah, thanks, Tapan. I'll not take long. One very simple thing is, I think we missed that earlier. Keep passwords which are complex, right? Don't use password 1 2 3 4 5
Date of birth,
WERTL, ASDFG, whatever, right? Keep complicated passwords. And Kunwar Saab touched very briefly earlier in the session. Everyone has at least 100 passwords to store now, between the apps, social media, 5 social media accounts or whatever, right? Use a password manager, but try and store it on a standalone machine. Don't use it on your regular machine. I think Tapan, you said that you just use that one machine. Try and do that, and again, please keep a super strong password for that password manager, right? And don't write down your passwords on your whiteboards. Don't leave your keys and other things on your, it's like जब घर से बाहर जाते हो तो ताला लगा के चाबी सामने ही नहीं रखते. People write passwords on the whiteboards and on their wherever. So just don't do that. I think that's all. In the interest of time, I'll shut up because I can keep on and on this.
Thank you, Mukul. I think a lot of valuable inputs. Sanjeev, your last
Yes,
comments.
so I would not take much time, but I agree with what Kunwar ji said. In fact, regarding the awareness part, we have to be continuously making people aware how to be safe, and we should not, again, as Mukul said, I'm adding to that, we should not save our password in the computers, because obviously nowadays every 15 days we have to keep on changing passwords, so it becomes difficult to remember. But we should have some complicated password, as he told. And whenever we are making any payments to any company through UPIs or something, it has to come from some authorized source, or we should cross confirm and check, then only the payment should be done, or else you will land in some different trouble, which may again take a lot of tensions for you and for your personal life. Thank you, sir. This is what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Sanjeev. I think I personally enjoyed this conversation a lot. I learned a lot from the experts like Kunwar Vikram, Mukul, and Sanjeev. I think I had a very, very enriching time, and I'm very, very thankful and grateful to all the three of them to be here because I could learn a lot. I think the message that I have from my learning is that one, nothing is free. If it is free, you're the product, no? So just be cautious about that. Second, if somebody is going to make you rich very, very fast, be cautious that no, in what doesn't happen, no. Third, you won a lottery, which is going to be like, no, making you millionaire immediately. It doesn't happen like that. Fourth, if somebody's going to send you some parcel through custom and you have to pay the custom duty, it doesn't happen like that, no. So I think just be cautious. If you are too tempted, think twice because that is where no the mistake happens. If you see something free, very easy, think twice. That's where the mistake happens. With these words, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to us. Grateful to all of you for being here. Have a great time. Have a great weekend. And be cautious on your password and your social media. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tapan.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Well,